Welcome back, or welcome to Running for Views. Today we're going to be talking about back-to-back long runs in ultra training, but before we get into that, did you know that 88% of you aren't subscribed? Subscribe now, or I'm putting a back-to-back-to-back long run in your next training plan. You want to overtrain? Well, do ya? Just kidding. Please subscribe. Thank you. So back-to-back long runs are what I think have helped me finish the most amount of races. I always include them in my training, and I think they are super helpful. But why should you listen to me? I mean, sure, I finish in like the top 25% of the races I do, but that's not that impressive, right? But you know who is impressive? Yeah, you already know who it is. Kilian Jornet, the GOAT of ultra running. So in the book, The Uphill Athlete, co-written by Kilian Jornet, he has back-to-back long runs in all of his training plans. By the way, buy the book. If you haven't bought the book yet, you're not a real ultra runner. Sorry, but it's just the truth. Link in description below. Go buy it. So here's an exact quote from the book when talking about aerobic-based workouts on specificity weeks. If training for a long event, do back-to-back long workouts these weeks. Aim for between 60 to 80% of your overall weekly distance/vertical on these two workouts. Distribute the remaining distance over at least 3 workouts. So let's break this down. He said to do about 60 to 80% of your weekly mileage just on these back-to-back long runs. So that's a lot of mileage on just 2 days of the week. That means if you're training for a 100-mile race and you're following my training plan, which of course you are, you'll see that the peak week of the training plan is a 100-mile week. So that's a 35-mile back-to-back long run, which is 70% of your overall weekly mileage. Ouch. If you haven't seen some of my other videos on training like Kilian Jornet, then go check those out. They'll really be helpful in understanding the process of how he plans out these weeks for you. So Kilian is one guy who talked about back-to-back long runs in his training, but who else is doing these? Well, for starters, we have the American GOAT, Jim Walmsley. He didn't post this year's training for his UTMB epic win. Devastating, I know. But for last year's UTMB race, he did back-to-back 41 and 36 mile runs. And he did these runs on the UTMB course. So side note, that's another thing that Kilian talks about in this book, is that you need to be training specifically for your race on these specificity weeks. Then we have another American legend, Zach Miller. So while training for this year's UTMB race, he did a 17 and 18 mile back-to-back long run with 6,000 feet of elevation each day. Then we got my neighbor, Katie Schide, who just lives up the valley from me. She won UTMB and came in second at Western States. So when training for Western States, she did a 19 and a 21 mile back-to-back long run. Then we have Johnathan Albon, who's a 2-time winner at CCC, and he did 13 mile back-to-back long runs on the year that he won CCC. But you get it, this is something that all of the greats are doing in ultra running. But why are they doing it? So the simple answer is that running on tired legs is a great race simulation while still giving your muscles time to recover. It also gives you a big aerobic boost. So when Kilian did his insane Pyrenees Mountain Summit project, he said the main reason he did this was to increase his aerobic base. He had taken most of the year off due to injury, so he wanted one last huge aerobic stimulus before the year ended. Back-to-back long runs are also a great way to help you prevent injury. So rather than do a tune-up race or or a B race, I would recommend doing back-to-back long runs. When running a tune-up race or a B race, I always end up regretting it and show up to the start line of my A race already fatigued, tired, sore, cramps, and yeah, they're not good for me. B races, I think, have a lot higher chance of you getting injured than if you did back-to-back long runs. Because I mean, just think about it. If you were to take those 2 back-to-back long runs and put them into one day, that is going to hurt, and you are going to need a lot more time to recover. For me, when I've done tune-up races, it usually takes me about a month to recover before I'm able to start getting back into training. And even then, it's not the same as doing a back-to-back long run. It's just not. And this is crucial time that I could have spent training and building up my mileage instead of maybe slogging out a 100-kilometer race. And yeah, back-to-back long runs. Do it. So you're going to want to be simulating your race during these back-to-back long runs, which means you're going to want to be fueling like you would want to be fueling for your A goal race. And if you want to learn more about that, you could check out my fueling for a 100-mile race video. But a general rule of thumb is that you're going to want to be fueling from 90 to 120 grams of carbs per hour, whether you're doing a 50-kilometer race or a 100-mile race. You're going to want to do it. Then after the first of the back-to-back long runs, you're going to want to make sure that you are fueling a ton to get ready for that next day's run. So this means eating a lot and hydrating a lot. So when it comes to the timing of these back-to-back long runs, Kilian put them about 13 weeks back in the training plan from the race, and then put them all the way up until about 4 weeks before the race. And then for the 50K training plan, he put them about 7 weeks out, all the way up until about 4 weeks before the race. And keep in mind that this isn't just one back-to-back long run that you're going to be doing. This is going to be multiple back-to-back long runs, building up mileage as you go. So this doesn't mean that you're just going to be running 35-mile back-to-back long runs every weekend. If you're training for a 100-mile, you're going to be slowly building up that mileage week after week. Also, Kilian and David Roach both have talked about how to train during those back-to-back long runs. So they said that during the downhills of the back-to-back long runs, that you need to be running those like you would be running them in your race. So this is going to prep and really season those quads so that they are ready to race. And this doesn't mean that you're just going to be bombing down every downhill that you get to. It means that you're just going to be focused and relaxed on these downhills so you can mimic that same thing in your race. But yeah, guys, that should wrap things up for today. If you have any questions, make sure to leave those in the comments below and I will get to them. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, and if you liked the video, smash that like button, because 1 like equals 1 hour shaved off of your race time.